So we start very gently with people. We start, if you like, on the outside. So a person may come because they've got some pain. So we're looking very much at the physicality in that moment to find out what they're doing in that moment that is probably causing that pain. Now we're talking about pain that's a bit like non-specific. There's a lot of non-specific back pain. People don't have ruptured discs or anything like that. They just got pain. And usually that's because they're, what we say is misusing themselves. Now, when I talk about yourself or oneself, we're talking about my thinking, my history, my physicality, my emotions, my spiritual life. All of it is myself. None of it can be left out because it's all influencing everything. Mm-hmm. So we take a step back from that because that's overwhelming, as you said. We go, okay, so if this person has got a pain in their back, in their lumbar, what are they doing on the surface that I can see to create that pain? And usually people are pulling their head back. And so as soon as the head goes back, the lumbar spine, you could try it, just collapse your head back a bit and you find that something moves in your lumbar. Mm. And then when we think about the head just balancing a little bit forward, up, the spine can elongate. The head goes back and we've either got to fight it and tighten or we collapse. And so just something like that, as simple as that, we put our hands on, move a person's head and move them into the chair, in and out of a chair, to practice getting the head releasing for their back to lengthen so they're not compressing themselves. That's the start. Then what happens is that we say, well, okay, I'm going to ask you to go and sit in the chair. And as soon as you ask somebody to sit down, then all their baggage, if you like, that's attached to that activity starts to fire up again. They pull their head back, they compress their back. So what is that? That's their reaction, their inbuilt pattern to the task of sitting down that they didn't know they were doing. So we say, well, okay, let's see if you can just hear me ask you to sit down without reacting in that way. Can you instead ask your head to continue to release away for your back to lengthen? And don't actually sit down yet. Don't do the task, but notice the reaction in your mind and all the activation that starts to bubble up before you've even got to sit down. This is how we then start to intercept how our thinking affects the way we move. So posture, in a sense, is not a thing. It's actually an expression of how we're organizing ourselves.
If you enjoyed this clip, the full episode will be made available up here somewhere, so feel free to check that out. If you're someone that's interested in working one-on-one with me and developing your practice of presence, reflecting on your life at the moment and calibrating your trajectory, then feel free to head over to todaydreamer.com and get in touch. There's also a full catalogue of episodes available on the website, which are there to help you cultivate the practice of presence so that you can more deeply participate in the blossoming of the emergent world story. Until next time, be well.